Welcome to episode 416, where I'm speaking with Dr. Sujatha Kekada about the gut-heart-mind connection. Ayurveda explains that the heart is not just an organ for pumping blood around the body. It plays a major role in our physical and psychological well-being. We discuss how chronic stress, trauma, and unresolved grief affect the heart and mind. So please stay tuned to learn more about this fascinating Ayurvedic wisdom on the gut-heart-mind connection. Hi there, I'm your host Colette, and on this podcast I will be sharing the teachings of Ayurveda, yoga, and holistic health practices. Now, if you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend checking out the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. Thanks for listening, and now here's a new episode. Before we get into this conversation, I want to let you know that in this episode we dive deep into the subdoshas. And if you're new to Ayurveda and not familiar with the subdoshas, then please check out the show notes where I will link to prior episodes where I explain the subdoshas in detail. It would be great to listen to those episodes and episode 411 on the gut emotion connection, which I refer to also in this episode. And so now let's get into my conversation with Dr. Sujatha, and I hope you find it helpful. Hello and welcome back to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. Today, I'm very happy to welcome back a regular guest, Dr. Sujatha Kekada, who is the head physician and co-founder of Amrita Siddhi Ayurvedic Clinic in Ubud, Bali. Dr. Sujatha is a certified Ayurvedic doctor with a degree from Rajiv Gandhi University in India. And she combines intuition and compassion with a bright intelligence and a rock-solid pragmatism to effectively guide people truly individually, just as the spirit of Ayurveda demands. Dr. Sujatha, welcome back. It's always great to chat with you.
Thanks for having me again.
Oh, of course. Always a pleasure. Always. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation today on the gut-heart connection and delving into that, because not so long ago in episode 411, I discussed the gut emotion connection. So now I'm happy to be discussing this topic of the gut-heart connection with you. So let's start with talking about the heart. So Ayurveda speaks of Hridaya as not just a mechanical pump, but it is also intricately linked to both the physical and psychological well-being. And so how do you describe the Hridaya in your own understanding?
I also want to talk to Hridaya in Sanskrit. It comes from a root word called Hrid. Hrid means core or center. The word Hridaya is used as an organ to describe an organ in Ayurveda, and also Hridaya also means its center. It also related to some authors or commentators describe Hridaya being the sthana of the seat of the Hridaya is being mind. And also in a broader spectrum, when you study Ayurveda, when you see contexts where the word Hridaya is used, it also refers to center of the cells. That means it's your DNA. So it's very interesting. So in a lot of contexts, Hridaya word is being used, organ, the seat of mind, and every cell, the center of every cell is Hridaya. So for me, understanding Hridaya is it's the center of your consciousness, center of the cellular intelligence. So I would begin my understanding of working with a patient or explaining something of all the different concepts of Ayurveda through the awareness that it's our consciousness, it's our intelligence, it's a seat of our consciousness, our cellular intelligence, our buddhi, when we talk about mind.
Okay. So really, as you said, the root of Hridaya is for the core and center, and the heart is the core or center for all the consciousness, cellular intelligence, and buddhi of the mind as well.
Yeah.
Can you explain buddhi for people who don't understand, please?
Buddhi is the innate ability to express oneself, the innate knowledge, innate intelligence that we carry in a being form. So it's almost like the gene coding in our DNA is the intelligence. The DNA knows how to multiply cells, which cells to multiply when, and when to release an hormone. So it's a program so that we have got. And as we grow, as we work on ourselves, when we say we're increasing our consciousness, means we're sharpening our intelligence or sharpening our buddhi. When our intelligence is sharp, the buddhi is sharp, we are connected more to the truth, to the awareness, to joy, to all that is. We will have greater clarity, we will have greater awareness, and that hence we lead a life which is full of love, care, understanding, connection, less pain, less suffering.
Okay, thanks for explaining that. Now, going back to what I mentioned a moment ago in episode 411, where I discussed the gut emotion connection, and I talked about the role of Prana Vayu, Sadhaka Pitta, and Tarpaka Kapha in the process of mental digestion, how together these three regulate the way we digest life. So how does Ayurveda expand that to include the gut-heart connection?
We talked about, you said, the gut and the digestive system connection, and then we're talking now today about the gut and the heart connection. One interesting thing is both the system, the gut and heart, are connected together by another system that we call srotas. It's called Prana Vayu srotas. It's the srotas, one of the Prana Vayu, which is connected to the mind, where the function of the mind, function of our intelligence or buddhi. So that itself is directly linked. It links both Hridaya and our digestive system. Isn't it so interesting? That, we talked about the mind connected to gut, but the mind is also connected to Hridaya. So that means it's a triangle. So heart connection with the mind, mind's connection with the digestive system, and these three need to work harmoniously for us to experience a degree of health and happiness.
Yes, that is fascinating. And so there is this triangle connection between the heart, the gut, and the mind. And so can you talk a little bit more about the Prana Vayu srotas and how that operates in the body, how this channel, prana channel, operates in the body and mind?
We can simple to understand, we can relate the Prana Vayu srotas is our neurological function in our brain. Sensory function and motor functions that our senses perceive and bring the information to our brain, and then, brain gives a signal to our motor function. So in a simple way to understand how we function is conducted by Prana Vayu. That means from the central nervous system that, we call sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, that we coordinate, cope, and carry all the functions are, there are 5 different kinds of vatas, but, Prana Vayu is the one which is related to our brain, intelligence and mind functions, ability to deal with emotions and have clarity and intelligence. So in a way, when the Prana Vayu is working well, the proper signal management from external signal going into our body and our body signaling to do certain action to deal with the external stimulus or external information we get. So this is coordinated by Prana Vayu. When the Prana Vayu is not working well, so, our awareness is reduced, our focus is reduced, concentration is impaired, our judgments are impaired. Basically, that leads into a lot of catastrophic behavior from us and response from us to external stimulus, either it's work or external environmental stimulations, people, relationship, all those things. If you don't have your Prana Vayu working well, your response to those things would be not in a supportive, harmonious way where you would be connected more into joy and happiness. So in a chemical way, talking, you would have a lot of stress hormones released in the body, lack of serotonin, and not enough dopamine. So these you would experience in your mind when the Prana Vayu is not working well.
Okay. And talking about stress, how does chronic stress affect not only Prana Vayu, but also Sadhaka Pitta and Tarpaka Kapha, the subtle doshas of the heart and the mind?
Mm. I want to give you some example to understand the Prana Vayu, the Sadhaka Pitta, and Tarpaka Kapha.
Yeah, please.
I believe there is some degree of understanding we have established about the Prana Vayu, which is, the conduction, nerve signaling, both from inside to out and outside to inside, and coping and organizing ourselves and carrying the organism to function well with the systems working within the organism. And Sadhaka Pitta is this light that gives, what we call clarity and that perfection, the stimulus to be sent, the signals to be sent at right time to the right part of the body to take action. So this sharpness, accuracy comes from the Sadhaka Pitta. And while the Prana Vayu carries the signals and this accuracy comes from the Sadhaka Pitta, it's almost like I was saying, the light bulb is switched on.
Mm.
And the Tarpaka Kapha, it creates that nourishment that your physical structure, like your brain matter or your neurons and ganglia, all these things needs, that's provided by Tarpaka Kapha. And if your Tarpaka Kapha is not working well, it's like a dry piece of land where all the grasses are dried up and nothing is glowing, nothing is shining, and no conductivity. So in order for those conductivity to happen, the message to go, and to decide when this message should go, all these three things need to be working well. Otherwise, this will not work. So hence, when that happens, there is the inner chaos, and that chaos is something, we experience as stress. If this goes on a smaller dosage all the time, we call this as chronic stress. And when this chronic stress happens, that means, brain or mind is the most powerful organ, and it controls, and that's why it's on the top of our body. It's the superior organ. Ayurveda calls our head or a brain as a uttama anga, the superior organ. And we call the top as a crown. That's the most important. The kings wear the crown. So that means it's considered to be the most important governing body of our human being or any organism. And if constantly we are experiencing stress, that means the Prana Vayu signals get messed up, we don't have the clarity, and we deprive ourselves from the Tarpaka Kapha. So in a physical body, no information goes into the cells properly, nourishment can be interfered. As a result, accumulation of certain things where it should not be can happen, which leads into obesity and stuff. Certain things can be lodged in a certain part of the body, can create irritation, like a cholesterol accumulation, plaques building up, excessive production of histamines, creating inflammatory reaction. All those things is one of the, I'm trying to give a picturesque vision of what could be happening in your body if the signals are messed up and going wrong, and bodies start to manifest disease. And, our joy, happiness, clarity, all those things can be messed up when we experience chronic stress that's related to vitiation of the Prana Vayu, non-clear Sadhaka Pitta and Tarpaka Kapha. And all these things, finally, if we talk about Hridaya here, your mind is not working well, your cells are not going to be working well, and the heart itself, we talk about the organs, is also not working well because it's also not getting a clear flow of signals from the Prana Vayu to, carry its function, which its function is then supported by another Vayu called Vyana Vayu. So Prana Vayu upset leads into Vana Vayu upset, and then Vana Vayu upset will lead into Samana Vayu upset, and then the Apana Vayu upset, so on.
And these are all the subdoshas of Vata.
Yes,
that you're talking about. Yeah.
Doing different functions in different parts of the body.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So it has a knock-on effect. And so these subdoshas we're talking about, like Sadhaka Pitta is obviously a subdosha of Pitta. And I've talked and explained these in episode 411. For those who are not familiar, Prana Vayu, obviously, like we just said, a subdosha of Vata, and Tarpaka Kapha, a subdosha of Kapha, for those people who are new to the subdoshas. So these can be aggravated by diet and lifestyle and stress. But let's talk now about if there's unresolved grief or unresolved trauma in the body. How can the heart and these subdoshas in particular
be affected by unresolved or undigested grief or trauma?
Mm. If we take heart as an organ, and if we take chakras related to heart, is Anahata chakra. And Anahata chakra and our Mooladhara chakra is interconnected. So Mooladhara, base chakra, which is our existence, our connection to our ancestors, where we come from. And it's also related to if the chakra is working well, we feel safe in the world. We have enough to survive, safety, all those things would be fulfilled, and we're not struggling in that area of our life. Hence, if that's there, generally we are able to experience joy and happiness in our life, which is connected to Hridaya, heart, which is a seat of happiness and joy, and also related to Anahata chakra. So if we have a trauma means it's a shock or an experience, very unpleasant and constrictive and restrictive, which creates fear. And one of the main cause of a Mooladhara chakra vitiation is fear of existence, fear of survival. These fear constantly creates, when we are scared, we want to survive, we freeze or we fight, and our body produces adrenals. And if these adrenals are constantly produced, then we have a follow-up hormone called cortisol in our body. And if it is occasionally produced, it's helpful. It's helpful to increase the heart rate and whatever that the body went through to calm it down, cortisols are needed. But if the cortisols are constantly surged because we are in a fear mode or the trauma gets triggered all the time, you're surged by cortisol and body always thinks you're in a survival mode. So constantly body feels inflamed as it's created to protect your body safe from some danger that you experience. But in reality, you're not in danger, but it's created by your mind, and we are not able to process that. That means your Prana Vayu, your Sadhaka Pitta and Tarpaka Kapha are in imbalanced state, out of balance, not able to process things. So that's where the trauma plays with the main energy of fear. And then we call grief. Grief constantly directly affects our heart because grief is lack of joy and happiness and feeling hopelessness. When heart is affected indirectly, it will also affect your survival mechanism. You feel that you're not safe, you're not stable, you're not protected, you're not connected. All those things happen. So there is an interlink of fear, trauma, and then grief, disconnected from joy in your life. Heart definitely get affected. Fear always aggravates vata. So when vata is aggravated, everything is constrictive, tightening, blocking, constriction. So heart is not getting its own circulation to itself for the heart muscles, and it's also unable to provide the circulation that it promises to each and every cell of your body. So there's a compromise to the heart itself, plus compromise of bringing this oxygen, all the nutrition into each and every cell of the body. And then if you talk about the center of the cell, which is heart, the nucleus, it's also going to be impair its function. And then begins, here I'm trying to, talk in a bigger picture. Ayurveda considers fear is the biggest cause of cancer. So talking about this process, when this cyclic process from trauma to grief, chakras getting affected, how the mechanism of heart not working well, then later on it's going to affect the heart of the cells. And then the cellular intelligence is compromised, and body is not able to control the production of the cells properly, or limits its production, or to regenerate new ones, and then so on. Immune cells are also part of the body, which is produced by signaling of the DNA in the body, responds to some external impact. So this is a way, if you're talking about how cancer gets produced from a constant trauma, fear, grief, it's a one pathway of manifestation of a disease. And similarly, other diseases can be manifested depending on how strongly this fear is affecting your cells. But, if your cells are vibrating well, if you have a good practice of some meditation, loving people in your life, and you're getting fed well, you're not doing what somebody's there, the chance of manifesting cancer may be less, but you may manifest some other diseases.
Right. Because of course, once the heart is affected, it permeates the whole body.
Yeah.
And so with that said, it really needs a holistic approach, especially when dealing with grief or trauma, or when the functioning of the heart and the subdoshas, Prana Vayu, Sadhaka Pitta, and Tarpaka Kapha are affected. What are some of the Ayurvedic approaches for healing through the heart, whether that's, dietary, herbal therapies? We also need to look at energy, right? We just discussed the chakras, or lifestyle-based practices. If you want to share a case study with us or give us examples of therapies that you use for healing through the heart.
Oh, from a practice, seeing this, trauma is not that, you do it to yourself, right? Something external happens. So some unfortunate things can happen to anybody, and we all went through certain things. And it's also, trauma is what we make out of that incident.
Sure.
And, same situation, you and me might have the same experience, but we might take it differently. And our experience can change. I think to heal trauma, one, somebody need to believe that I can get out of this. I can get out of the control of the incident, what happened. So that one first belief you need to create for yourself, which is also hope. And heart chakra is all related to hope and possibilities. In that way, you already start healing your heart, because heart opens up. Heart is also referred to a blooming flower, a blooming rose, red rose, because, heart carries the blood and this concept. So having hope is a big thing to heal your heart, heal the trauma. So, and then that need to come within yourself, and one need to constantly believe that, yes, this can heal, I can heal, and I can have a better life than what I had. It's possible for me, and then the doors will open up. And also being surrounded by, if you have people in your life, connecting to those things that bring joy, or people, or being in the nature, this could be a beginning point where nature is unconditional. So being in those things can be the beginning part of it. And lifestyle wise, for us to keep we need to focus on keeping our prana healthy, prana flowing. Prana needs to flow. When prana is constricted, it creates a friction and then stress. So to anything that will help the prana to flow, pranayama is the way to go for. And you don't need to do these heavy duty breath works and all those things. I'm talking here just a simple nadi shodhana, just clearing your right and left nadis, which are related to different emotions, anger or bringing gentleness. So I think keeping our right Ida Pingala, or the Surya Nadi, Chandra Nadi, which controls the different emotions in our body, balance, just doing this Nadi Shodhana Pranayama every day, minimum, like let's say 30 cycles in the morning, would greatly help you to keep your Prana Vayu flowing in a healthy vibrational state. And then another pranayama also very, very good to reducing the cortisol levels in your body is the Brahmari pranayama, the humming bee pranayama. Just 5 cycles of that will do a great benefit to reduce the cortisol, calm you down. So this is something you can do the pranayama wise. And then lifestyle wise, simple things would be like, resetting your circadian rhythm with the nature, waking up with the sunrise, going to bed not too late, watching sunrise or sunset. These things have a great impact on us. And also getting an early morning sunshine on your body, that really gives the pitta factor, the motivation, inspiration, energizing qualities that we need from the pitta. So that's why we can, take that into our body to support naturally. And in the evenings, moon bathing. whenever there is a full moon or the brighter moonlight, exposing to moonlight, sitting there calmly, enjoying this moonlight is another way naturally you can support the imbalance that can happen or help with the traumas and stuff. There are some medicines also that definitely helps with your mind. The adaptogenic medicines like ashwagandha, jatamansi, shankapuspi, brahmi, all those things are great benefit to help us to cope with the internal factors, mind calming, connecting to consciousness in a better way, and to able to see the truth and able to process things, letting go. These herbs can greatly help. Other things in my practice I've seen, I practice the marma therapy and theta healing, which is working on your subconscious mind where all the traumas get stored, our beliefs get stored. Using theta healing techniques one can help to receive some help in releasing these beliefs that's deep down in your subconscious mind, and subconscious mind is directly connected to your muscles and muscle memories. Also, I've seen in some patients, these things are deeply buried in your DNA when it comes to some traumas that's been passed from generation to generation that, your mother, your grandmother experience. These things, we take it because when, we are the result of our ancestors. So there is a degree of needing to connect to them, be loyal to them. So sometimes with this loyalty and care and connection, we carry some of their traumas. So these things we can release, through the theta healings and some spiritual practices, some powerful mantras. For these things, you need to have teachers. But theta healing, you could do the morning routine things I can do. Can also get a good herbal prescription from a reliable source of Ayurvedic practitioners, or even Chinese medicines have something similar to it. So these are the approaches you can take. And I've had several experiences in my practice, people carrying trauma, how it affects their body, and disease manifestations. And generally, I see these things when it really comes to compromised immune system, digestive issues, chronic fatigue, lack of inspirations. These are a few of the common things that I see when people are not having this great connection of Prana Vayu moving very well through their Hridaya, even if you're just talking about the organ, and in a deeper understanding, Prana Vayu smoothly fueling the mind, fueling the intelligence, and fueling our DNA to do its function properly.
Great. Thank you for breaking that down and the holistic approach that you use. And, the pranayama is something simple that people can bring in. And as you said, the Nadi Shodhana, which to translate that for people is just the alternate nostril breathing. Dr. Sujatha talked about Ida and Pingala, which are the subtle channels in either side of the nostrils. And so that's a great practice, and the humming bee pranayama as well. We talked about the chakras earlier, Muladhara chakra, the root chakra, and how that can be affected by fear and increased cortisol, sending us into fight or flight mode, and Anahata chakra being the heart chakra. Doing some chakra meditations or bija mantras for the chakras as well could probably be beneficial here.
Yes, definitely that can help. Why I did not mention about the bija mantra is they're very subtle. If we don't practice through the physical body, like, the waking up routine, or pranayama or good food, nutritious food, this bija mantra, because it's so subtle, we are so gross and heavy, this vibration won't penetrate through.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So for that, we really need to start with the physical body, get his physiology going well and nourishment very well. And then, it's not that it will not have an impact, but you don't want to do that and not do the other things and get frustrated and feeling nothing is working for you.
Exactly. Start with on the grosser level and then move to the more subtle level. Absolutely. No, that makes total sense. And talking about starting on the grosser level, our modern life, we're dealing with a lot of overstimulation and emotional overwhelm. So what are some signs, early signs that people can look out for that indicate that their heart-mind connection may be under strain? On the grosser level, what could be an indicator that people need to start taking steps to implement some of these practices you talked about?
First most thing is sleep. I'm not talking about, okay, if you're having a bad night of sleep here and there, but if you're chronically not able to sleep, or you're waking up, like say around 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock every day, and then you're just bright open and your eyes are bright open and you can't sleep, it indicates that the connection between the heart and the mind not working well. There is so much of underlying subconscious stress and processing going on when you sleep, because you're not aware, your mind is asleep. So whatever that in the subconscious, it start to process on its own. So sleep is a good indicator of that. If you're having a chronic challenges with the sleep, that's something to work. Hypertension. A lot of young people are experiencing hypertension, high blood pressure. So this also can indicate that inner strength, the Prana Vayu, is not working well, creating chaos. This can be listed as, disease, but having, diagnosis like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease, these things can indicate there is so much of in your mind to pranavaha srotas to your heart is not in sync with. The flow is not happening. So it's backfiring. So your mind has some thoughts and your heart doesn't accept that, and there is a fight. So this is how I see in my practice that the mind and heart is not in sync. So you got to get that synchronicity and agreeability with the mind and heart going hand in hand together. Generally feeling disconnected, no matter, like, you have a successful career, you have enough money, you're married, you have a loving wife, you have children, pretty much what you thought that you want in your life and would bring you happiness. In despite of having all those things, if you feel disconnected, unhappy, lacking joy, that also indicates that your pranavayu and heart connection is not working well.
These are great to have these early signs. Before we finish up here, is there anything else that you wanted to share with us today that we haven't covered?
You mentioned, just before that the overstimulation concept, and disconnected from nature, disconnected in understanding our body, the impact of external things. I think the more and more technology is growing, we think we can use our body in whatever way we want, going away from the nature itself. And we demand so much out of our body. And not knowing what my body needs, the basic things, nutrition, sleep, listening to the body. We stop doing that because we're so much stuck in the head, and head is stuck, head is connected to all the sense organs, and the sense organs looks for things outside of us. I think going back to the root of everything this is the cause of it. And, can begin with a trauma, but about trauma is our own inability to understand my own body, its needs, its understanding how it functions, and not taking time to connect things around, being still. So, this is missing, and this is missing connecting to our heart, connecting to another person's heart. And that needs stillness. When you're busy and doing too many things, you cannot connect. It's a dispersing energy. So creating that still time, quiet time, and being in a quieter place, it's really essential and it's really important. And to the listeners, I want to bring this across that, take early morning time, when everything is quiet and calm, and we say this is a time of consciousness or the Brahmi Murta, and that's where you can connect to the intelligence of your body and the source of the intelligence which is around us. So, great insights can come through that quiet time that you're going to spend with yourself. That could begin the part of the healing and having these Prana Vaha srotas working well, the Prana Vayu working well, and fueling the heart in a very perfect way for us to connect to joy and happiness.
And it's true that quiet time is something, especially for people who have kids. And, life is very busy, especially in the morning, getting the kids out to school. But getting up a little earlier, 45 minutes before sunrise, and having that quiet time to yourself. And I think as well, bookending the day. So you have the morning and the evening when maybe the kids are gone to bed for your self-care. And making some quiet time at either end of the day, but particularly in the morning. And that's when a lot of inspiration, as you said, intuition, and just some clarity can come, right? In that stillness in the morning.
Absolutely. With clarity, it comes in ability to make right decision. And, you mentioned about people who have children and they live in a nuclear family. It's hard to wake up before the sunrise, so at least consider waking up with the sunrise. Carve out that, 15 minutes time for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's so important before the kids get up and then it's, you're hitting the ground running, that you have some time for a little self-care. You'll feel so much more nourished throughout the day, because in your day, particularly if you're a parent, your energy is going out all day to taking care of children and what other responsibilities you have in your life. So I agree, that quiet morning time and a little bit in the evening is great as well. Dr. Sujatha, thank you so much. So much great information here. Before we finish up, can you tell us what's going on at Amrita Siddhi and tell people a little bit about your Ayurvedic center in Ubud?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Colette. Amrita Siddhi in Ubud, Bali, we're still there. Since you have been there, we started a few years before you came into Amrita Siddhi. Yeah. It's a place, sanctuary for people to heal naturally and find solution naturally, and taking ownership of their body, mind, and who want to be empowered and find a solution for their health issues or emotional issues. This is the place for that. And, from my experience, you have to go through certain things that allow you to want to make some changes for yourself. So work in Amrita Siddhi is working together with a physician, working together as a team. So you got to come prepared for that. You're coming for a change and knowing how you can make a change to yourself and how you can help yourself. That's a process. But people, sometimes we are not there at this stage. We don't know. A lot of people never heard about Ayurveda. So with that intention, I want to bring this education to people, to bring the knowledge of yoga, Ayurveda, meditation, how I can simplify that and bring it to people so that they can, try small little things in their life, things like we talked here. So I have created this new place, which is part of an extension of Amrita Siddhi called the Ayurveda Hub. It's a place for people to learn, educate, bring more awareness, and empower to a happier, healthier life. So this has been my new project that I've just finished in June. And looking forward to share my vision with people to bring more joy and happiness. So this is what's happening, other than Amrita Siddhi, that what I've been working for last 2 years.
Congratulations. It's a big project. It was in construction the last time I was there a couple of years ago when we did the retreat. So that's fantastic. And there you're housing lots of educational programs. Like you said, lots of holistic programs.
Small, simple retreats for people to have an understanding, feel nurtured, cared, connect with like-minded people, get encouragement, people who are interested in learning Ayurveda and, who are practitioners. We're creating courses, so internship programs. Even we want to bring the teacher training program combined with a depth of Ayurveda and yoga together. A lot of teacher training programs are just teaching only asanas and exercise part. They're missing the sister science Ayurveda to go with it. even you don't start actually the yoga practices without having the basic understanding of Ayurveda. So my intention is to bring these sciences together, people who are going out and becoming yoga teachers or health practitioners. So this is also part of the Ayurveda Hub vision.
Beautiful. And where can people go to find out more about that?
I guess our website, Instagram page, under the name Amrita Siddhi. Website is www.amritasiddhi.com. Instagram page is also called Amrita Siddhi. And Ayurveda Hub. We have a Instagram page just started. It's called Ayurveda Hub, the Ayurveda Hub. So just through Amrita Siddhi's website, you can get more information.
Great.
If you're interested in further exploring and understanding and get some guidance and explore how to empower yourself.
Beautiful. And Amrita Siddhi, for those who are wondering how that's spelled, is AMRTASIDDHI. And I will put a link to that in the show notes also. Well, congratulations, Dr. Sujatha. I mean, you have built up so much since I was first there. Over a decade ago now. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see Amrita Siddhi continuing to progress, and you're just adding more and more all the time. So I appreciate all the work you're doing in the world, and thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
Oh, my pleasure. And what I'm able to do is just all the people's trust and belief. And if you guys would not there be trusting me and, receiving what I wanted to offer, I don't think I could grow. So thanks to you all that who believe in and trusted me.
Absolutely. Well, we need exactly. We need Ayurveda now more than ever. So thank you again for all the work you do.
You're very welcome.
Until next time, Dr. Sujatha, take good care of yourself.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Dr. Sujatha, and please check out the show notes for all the links mentioned. And you can find all the details on my online services on my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. If this episode inspired you, please share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to follow or subscribe so new episodes will automatically download for you. Please come join me on social media. On Instagram, it's Elements of Ayurveda Podcast. And on Facebook, it's Elements Healing and Wellbeing. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and bye for now. Slán go fóill.